to PTA, boys and girls.
Hello again, friends. So this week we've got the playoff preview and the awards rundown. We'll be doing a little D1, a little D2, and then we'll do next week the finals and the relegation promotion playoff series, so don't expect those in this week's show. But let's get down to it. We have one more game left in the season, which is Squares Staplers, which will affect the series that will happen. So that kind of throws a wrench into the works about which series will actually happen, but we'll be previewing all the different possibilities. So the first series will be, assuming the Staplers win on Monday, it will be
In
Turtles
regulation.
versus in regulation, because we can't, if it goes to OT, then we're stuck in fourth. Then it'll be Turtles versus Squares. So this series, I mean, Turtles are obviously underdogs no matter who they play here, but also, Feus got banned today. Nape comes back, and the first thing he does is a ban. I mean, this guy is just on a rampage. What are your thoughts on that?
What actually is pretty big because his style fits really well with the Turtles. You know, he kind of holds the wall in the corner, holds possession, which they
Yeah, I was
like.
impressed by him a lot.
Yeah, I think he did fine with their style, especially since Jiggy likes to crash. So having those forwards that do that, basically how they play like a die or
For sure.
Addy.
I mean, one thing about the Turtles, if Yigi had had more traditional forwards, say he has Cell or, I don't know, Jekko or something like that, a more established D1 player, I don't think he would have played as well because the players he has now are kind of deferring to him, dropping back like Joey, Randy, etc. So it kind of works.
Yeah, but the thing I'll say, Joey does the style as well, but they don't really have another forward that does that type of style. So it's going to really hurt their team because Yigi was allowed to crash, and then they played that super defensive style.
At
So
any rate,
I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pull it out. I
yeah.
mean, they still have a shot though, just because of how good their defense has been.
And since it's playoffs, if they can get to an OT, which they probably will, at least one of the 3 games, probably 2 of the 3 games.
The first game's going to be important for them if they can get it to a long OT.
Like even if they lose, if the first game goes to OT, it'll be Turtles series for sure.
That's for sure.
Vinny P definitely has to show up for them. He's been kind of iffy attendance throughout the season, even though he does have 200 minutes. He's missed some key games. If he doesn't show up, it's just a flat-out loss. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if he does show, I think he's their best offensive player. What do you think?
I honestly didn't even know he had that many minutes or that he had 20
Dude,
points.
I'm looking at the page right now.
Yeah,
I'm, like,
I'm looking at it right now.
200 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like I've never even seen him show.
Yeah. It's like every time I look at a match report, he's not there, but he keeps showing all the other ones. So anyway, he's 1.44 PPG, which is pretty respectable, to be honest. In this season, there hasn't been that many goals in lots of the big games. Pretty good. Oh shit!
I mean, he's really been having a good season.
50 of his minutes are in OT. No wonder.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah,
that
okay.
seems
Now it makes sense. Okay.
That just shows how defensive they play.
Yeah, yeah. Yas has kind of been like TDA this season, more back to basics style, and it gets results. I mean, Lindros has had some good GKs like Josh, Chewbacca, but he's also had some pretty conservative GKs. Like I know with Ovechkin, he got him, I think, a sub 1 GA at one point.
I don't think he ever started though.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
oh yeah,
in the playoffs or just in big games, you can get results with goalies that play conservative. Like I'd have no problem throwing in Ovechkin if we need him.
Oh yeah, Nape's been really good at that the past 2 seasons.
Okay, from the other point of view, say the Squares are playing them. How do you think they'll match up?
You mean Staplers?
No, we're starting with Squares, then we'll do Staplers after.
Squares? Actually, I think either of these teams really want to avoid this because Squares, I mean, they're kind of weak defensively. So if they get into those long OT battles, they could lose it, you know, just because maybe they push too far and they get, you know, transition goal.
Something that has to be remembered here is that Turtles actually won the series 2-1.
Yeah.
The first game was 2-1 in OT, and then just last Monday, or was the Monday before, I don't know, they beat Squares again. Part of that is attendance with the Squares. They only got their real lineup like recently, but in the last game they played, they had Afro show up finally, who I think is their starter, or no, Chewbacca.
No,
Chewbacca's their starter,
Afro
right?
showed up in that game. I think Afro's going to start for him. And actually, I
Well,
don't think he's been that great this season. So if the Squares do want a deep run, they need way better GK play than they've had in the regular season.
they might swap out a lot in this series or in the playoffs in general, the squares, because they have a lot of depth. So I could see Chewbacca and then Afro getting time. I don't think Rylan would get very much time. He really dropped down from last season.
Actually, I think if the Squares can get Slap to show up, they definitely have a real shot.
Oh yeah, yeah. He hasn't
They,
showed up at
I
all
think,
since. So
yeah, if they
who
can
knows?
get him to show up, but I don't know if he's going to be able to. And I mean, do you have anything more to say about the Squares, or you want to talk about your team?
I think part of the reason that the squares have struggled against the turtles is because their style this season has been two in the corner, and so against a team like the turtles that really likes to bus and then make it super slow, it sort of played into the turtles' hands. Whereas if they were playing a different sort of style that didn't slow down the game, I think it's because Star was struggling in the corner. But anyway, if they were playing a different sort of style, which they might switch up against them, then they would have had a lot less trouble. Let's move on to the staplers permutation. So say squares staplers ends up in OT or staplers lose in regulation, then that'll mean staplers finish fourth and the turtles third? Or no? It would depend on how the turtles play on the last day.
Yep.
But either way,
Doesn't
we'll be
matter.
playing them if we lose. So we've
I think.
sort of had. Sorry, you can go.
No, you can go ahead.
All right. Well, speaking as someone who's played against them, I'm not really scared of them offensively. The defense is pretty tough. Like we had chances but struggled to put them away for a while. And of course, the game did go to overtime. But we didn't score in regulation. This is the last time we played. So it really could go either way if it gets to long OTs. So I can see us staplers trying to force the issue in regulation so it doesn't
Oh,
get to that point.
I could definitely see that, especially since you guys kind of struggle on offense from what I see.
Yeah, I'm having a fucking awful season. I don't know. I think it's because I made the transition to my mechanical keyboard. Like up till this season, I've been on my laptop and I was doing like drop balls and dub
Oh, you should ask
shots.
Chinny for advice.
Man, I don't even want to get into that. Fucking
But
Chinny.
I think you guys really don't want to play them. I think a win would be big for y'all against the Squares. Just
Yeah,
because
yeah. I do
you
want
never
to win
know.
against the squares. That'll help a lot. I mean, I'm more comfortable playing in the deep overtimes now than in just normal play, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird because the mechanical keyboard means I'm able to win spam battles, but it's too weird for me to trying to do lifts and shit. Like that one GIF where I slimed Crumbler that one time, I wouldn't
Oh
be able
yeah.
to do that right now at all.
Okay. Actually,
Anyway,
if you do end up playing against the Turtles and win, I think it would be a good warm up for LA because they're kind of a better version of the Turtles, really.
they're a better version of the Turtles?
I think so.
Explain.
I mean, their offense has no creativity. Their defense, I guess, is kind of. I mean,
Oh,
maybe it's more
okay.
prone to mistakes.
If
It really depends who they play, honestly.
Like
They're
I think LA could switch up how they're playing, not just lineups, but switch up how they're playing versus who they're against. Say they're against Turtles, I think they could force the issue in regulation really well. Say move Diablo to forward, or just have Cell TP a
mm-hmm.
little farther out. They're more versatile players. Frizzle had some ideas about the lineup issues.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later
We'll
on.
talk about it later though.
Yeah.
So then after that, after the Turtles game, we'll have the first semi, which is Gunmen versus Squares, or Gunmen versus Staplers. Do you want to
I'm
start with either of those?
I'm actually kind of hoping we have Gunmen versus Squares. I mean, it's a rematch of last season's cup. Both teams actually kind of play
Right.
similar too. They don't use their GK. They kind of press. They like corner ball. And actually, I mean, I guess Gunmen aren't weak defensively, but Squares, I mean,
I feel like Squares will be out for blood. If that series happens, it might be the most entertaining of the whole playoffs.
Star is definitely going to have to activate playoff mode. He
Yeah,
always plays way better in playoffs
for
somehow.
sure, for sure. It was the same with season 19, I think it was, where Star won the cup with them.
Oh yeah, he
He just activates for sure. I think he played mid there as well, and even if he's kind of been just decent this season, I could definitely see him turning it on against FA.
absolutely. Also, I mean, he just has to be better in corners. Really, I think it is. and not panic too much on his crashes.
Right.
But I mean, and he's had a good season though.
Yeah, a good season, obviously. I mean, they're third right now, which is certainly fine.
Square's also got to pass a little faster. It's kind of obvious what they're trying to do, but that's not always a bad thing.
One question I have for you is Hash Browns. Like, he won the cup playing D forward, and this season he's playing D forward again after 1 or 2 seasons with Swish, where he was CP. Do you think there's a difference there, or is it negligible?
I think there is actually because Fruit isn't a natural CP, at least in playoff mode. You know how you do playoff style CP.
To be fair, Fruit won the cup D forward.
Yeah.
So, I know last season I remember you talking to me about this, and you didn't like Fruit at D forward.
He's all right.
I mean, I was giving him like super credit, and you're just like, yeah, he's good, which is
Yeah.
big
I mean,
difference.
I don't know if he's anything special at D4. I mean, he's good though. But
Well,
at
since
CP,
he's
he
since
seems
he's
kind of
turned
like.
down his macro and he's been helping the corner with Star,
Mhm.
he's played pretty well.
Yeah, and when the ball is in the D corner, he doesn't exactly know like where he wants to go. And I actually saw it because I was watching their game, and Hash just
Oh,
told him to screen the mid.
really? So they went away from their defense.
Yeah, like kind of
What
like the
game was
one that
this?
we played last season. It was versus LA.
Huh? And did they win the game?
Yeah, they won.
Right. Interesting.
And actually, they didn't really let up a goal. The only goal that was scored was that Star own goal. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
So maybe they're picking up the defense. But that's like a thing I'm saying. Like LA wasn't able to score on them in like 20 minutes. So I mean that's a little bit concerning, right?
Yeah, yeah. LA's defense is pretty solid, but their offense has been inconsistent, I'll say. Like they have been good in stretches, which is different than other teams who are just like purely low scoring, like us and the Turtles, for example.
Yeah, and so do you want to talk about how like they match up with the potential 4 seeds
Okay,
or 5 seed?
so yeah, let's move on. Oh no, we haven't done Gunman Staplers. Let's do that, and then we'll
Gunman
move on to LA.
Staplers.
Okay, so Gunman Staplers, I really, really want this series to happen. Just from a purely playing standpoint, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I completely failed the last time I was on the Reds Dynasty with Hefe behind me. I just got stage fright playing against Lindros, but this is my career high in minutes, so I'm like really comfortable as a D1 player finally, and I just want to get one after Hefe, to be honest.
I actually think you guys really don't want to play against them. I think
Well,
you. This isn't even a shot at LA. I'm not trying to just constantly take shots at them. I just think you match up better against them than the Gunmen.
I kind of like playing against teams who bust against us, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't want a CP out just causing havoc like Cell.
I mean, I guess I could see that because I mean, Bima and Under have both played GK, so they kind of understand, how to get the GK involved. Although Under does corner ball too much.
Oh, and because of how teams bust, well, I'll leave that for our play. I won't ruin
Well,
too
yeah,
much
you
about
don't
our
want to say
tactics.
everything, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing for y'all to get board involved.
Right.
And if you're playing against a bus, I mean, you feel so much more comfortable. Actually, I really like playing against a bus as a mid.
All right. Let's move on to LA then.
Okay.
So we have let's start with the unlikeliest scenario and move up from there. So LA versus Turtles.
I think that's a really boring series. I don't think anyone
Dude, I
wants to
don't want
watch
to
that.
watch this. No one will watch this series. I guarantee.
I think LA takes it though. Just a lot of long,
Yeah.
boring games. But
Diablo and Cell, they'll get it eventually. Just
yeah, I don't
being
think
more
Cell and
talented.
Diablo would let their team lose that game or that
Nah.
series. Not against the Turtles.
Yigi will probably score. He'll get frustrated with forwards not scoring. He'll push
Mhm.
forward. He might do well. Might backfire, but I think he'll do well.
I could see
But
first game
won't be
being
enough.
pretty close, but I mean, as
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wears
First
on.
game we'll go to OT if it's against Turtles. The second game it'll be like 3-0, 4-0.
Mhm.
All right, and then so LA is assuming we lose on Monday. Staplers. You keep talking about this series, so
I think this would be a pretty good series, actually.
explain to me why is this like your hot series? I
Well,
don't
I think
understand it.
Square's versus them would be good too, but I want to see the rematch with Gummin. So, well, I mean, their offense isn't good, and I think y'all's defense has been, I don't know, mediocre. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been great. It's not terrible.
I feel like Cell is another player similar to Star who just turns it on in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, Cell does pretty good in playoffs. Yeah, I say
Because
that.
he's a corner ball expert. Like he's probably one of the top 5 corner ball forwards of all time.
But that's the
And like
thing. I think you guys want to play against that corner ball.
exactly.
And Sell, I think Sell's the best player in LA, but he does corner ball way too much. And Scott, I mean Scott just
I don't even know how Scott plays, to be honest.
I mean I don't want to take too much shot. He's not a terrible player, you know.
No. He's
Not a
above
terrible player.
average. He's a D1 player now,
You know,
but I just don't understand how he plays
he's
straight
an
up.
okay D1 player. The thing is, he just doesn't know how to aim back passes. He doesn't know how to cut as a forward, so I don't know how it's gonna go. I think they really need to start Rex.
I don't know what he does, Scott, but I don't feel in danger against him ever.
No, I remember when I played against him in playoffs. I basically just sat with the ball in corner because he isn't gonna do anything with it.
Yeah, I don't think we had problems clearing. It was when they got the ball to Miles and then he could spread it. Like Scott, I feel like Scott plays a lot better off the ball than on the ball.
I don't know
And
though, because he doesn't know how to cut, and it's like I can place the ball anywhere on like Cell or like Wayne or someone like that, and they know how to like bounce it off the wall and like control it and everything. But I give it to him, and he just turns it over. I don't know. I don't know how to
he's
say
not
it.
exactly. He's like there's 2 big archetypes in SBHB. We have
Mm-hmm.
like the corner ball experts, and we have like the passy kind of forwards, like Wayne or Jadis, like XGen, like that. And then most people are somewhere on that spectrum,
He
I'd
kind of
say.
reminds me. I
I feel
don't
like
know if you
Scott's
ever
very in the
knew
middle.
SWS, how he played at mid. Scott kind of plays like him at forward.
That's before my time.
Yeah, he doesn't give you too much,
All right.
but I think you guys could at least take a game off them.
Yeah,
I think it would
definitely.
be a competitive series. I think you
Uh,
have to step it up, dude.
yeah,
That's for sure.
if we play LA, I think I
But
had 0 goals in 2 games, and then I think I
here's
scored
another
a game
thing
winner
though.
in the other one.
Here's
What?
another thing though. Miles hates uncertainty in corners, so actually you could cause havoc against him.
By doing what?
It's random ass shit. Like I think he would prefer playing
Yeah.
against someone like
I think Miles
Addy.
was the weakest player when we played LA. Like I wasn't afraid of Miles at all when I had the ball. I just need to step it up and create more.
Miles is alright with like swinging the ball, kind of like if you bust, I think that's good for LA actually. Whereas I think if you screen him and make him uncomfortable, he starts to
Right.
make bad decisions. He starts to choke. But I think he's actually a pretty good GK, or not GK, a mid at like holding possession, playing like that swing style,
Uh-huh.
and that's how they want to play with Diablo.
Yeah,
So
might have to switch up how we're playing against LA if that
yeah,
series happens.
maybe just have you screen him.
Uh-huh. So is there any other series we're missing here? LA
Just
Squares,
well, if
right?
LA ends up against Squares, yeah.
All right.
And I mean,
Man, the Squares have had their number though.
yeah, even in the forfeit game we won't talk about, they kind of did pretty good against us.
I don't even remember what happened there, but anyway, we'll just go off the latest game. I mean, it's the most recent one, so it'll give a more clear picture about what would happen in the playoffs. Diablo didn't play in this; it was Otis, aka Dab, but Squares did pull out the victory, and this was with Afro GK, not Chewbacca. I don't know, man. I don't. Scott Ball scored, and then Fruit twice.
Actually, the Scott Ball score is the star own goal from like half
Oh,
court.
right. I forgot.
And actually, I watched this game in full, and I saw a lot of the things I just mentioned. Uh, Fruit and Star really pressing up made Miles uncomfortable, and he was letting in so many
Really?
crosses. Like, if I was a GM, I would have benched Miles. Just because as a mid, you know, if say I wasn't playing, of course I wouldn't bench him, you know, over Dab or Scott.
Right. Prizzle, which teams do you think are most likely to use their bench? Like, which team will use their bench most in the playoffs?
God,
We got Squares. We have a pretty deep bench. We have LA.
Squares or LA? It's between them two, I
Yeah.
think. Because Squares, I mean, they have Chewbacca.
Well,
And they
there's
have
also
Rylan.
the wild card is the Gunmen. Of course, they have
Oh yeah.
Pixels. You have to remember that.
And actually, I think their best lineup is with Hefe benched, and they bring in Rich mid, and then have Pixels with agilities.
If you
But
can
then,
convince Pixels to play D forward
yeah, but that's the
for,
thing. Then they wouldn't bust. I don't know.
I can't see that lineup happening. That would be interesting, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
think
like to
so.
see it. but it's not gonna happen.
I think the most likely one is Jekko benched after El Jefe gets fucking pissed at him. Pixels comes in, Rich is still D forward, El Jefe's mid,
No,
and
I
then
don't. I
maybe
don't
for
think
TDA GK.
Pixels will play with Hefe.
Well, it depends. If Jekko's the first to leave, or if El Jefe is, who will antagonize the other first so that they rage quit? I think one of them will do it in the playoffs,
I
in the
don't know
middle of
though,
the game.
because Hefe did apologize, so you always have that.
Yeah, they do come back to each other. So okay, so one of them will rage quit in the middle of a half, and then come in at the end of that half. That's my prediction here.
I think LA could end up using Rex though.
Yeah.
And actually, I was talking to Miles about this before the show, and he says they think they might end up using him. I mean, just from
I
being on
think
the
Squares
team.
would be most likely to use their bench just because they have so much quality there. So
Well, yeah,
they'll be
they have a deep
encouraged
team.
to.
Plus, I think they have a much more threatening style if they put Rex in there, and they have so many different like ways they can put him in. But I think they don't have too much faith in Scott. I know Cell gets frustrated playing with him, and even Miles says he's not that great.
Okay, let's move on to D2.
But wait, how well do you think
What?
the Squares match up against him?
Oh, dude, to sum it up, Squares got this.
You think so?
Yeah.
So you still
This,
have LA as a pretender, or are you kind of
if
raising them
Diablo
up?
moves to D forward, then LA is suddenly the most scary team in the playoffs because Diablo and Cell is just ridiculous, no matter who's behind them. But
Yeah,
if
I think they
Diablo's
should.
GK, then it's more
I
like how you were describing my staplers before the show.
mm-hmm.
I don't think LA are pretenders exactly,
Yeah,
but they're not exactly contenders.
yeah, I can see that. I just
Uh,
I wouldn't label a contender because any team that's afraid to play against someone, I don't like that attitude.
right, exactly.
I mean, Scott straight up told me that Miles was afraid to play against me in playoffs, and I don't trust a mid like that.
That's gotta be a meme. Come on.
I know I swept him last time I played him.
Oh, really? Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll move on to D2 now.
Did we talk about the Gunman series or?
Yeah, we did. We did Gunman
Okay.
Squares, Gunman Staplers. We'll do the finals and relegation series.
Okay. One
Next
question
week.
to you though.
Okay.
Who is the absolute cup favorite?
If Squares win on Monday, I'm gonna go with Squares.
They definitely have the potential. They just have to lock up that defense.
Yeah, I think if they start Chewbacca and Star does his A game in the playoffs, yeah, I would go with Squares.
I actually think they should start Afro. He just has to play way better. Worky's a little rusty, and I saw him get beat just like one-on-one.
Actually, you're right. Maybe Afro fits in with how they're playing,
I
so
feel
maybe
like
he could step
Afro
up.
plays way better in pubs, and I think we played against him last season, and he played way better. So maybe he just needs to get comfortable with that team too. I mean,
Yeah,
he didn't have much
he was
time
away
though.
for a while.
That's true. Okay, yeah, we can move on to D2.
Okay, so let's start at the bottom. We've got E4 versus Shaolin. Man, this is quite a different discussion. We
E4
got
in a sweep.
Elite 4 and Shaolin. Elite 4 and Shaolin. Let me say this again. So we have Escrow, Caps fan, Murder Mitten, Pan Fork, Andy Vo. I think Andy Vo is a GK of the Year candidate in D2. He's got like 2.27 GAA. I mean, like, I guess that's good in D2 in this day and age.
Oh god.
It was when
Dude,
he,
you
I
gotta
think,
watch out for the veterans though.
yeah, Caps fan can have a good game, maybe. Escrow's is don't laugh. But yeah, I think Elite Four's got this series just because they have a locked-in team that wouldn't look too out of place in D1, if I'm totally fair. Waza style.
Yeah, but Waza's ass. I mean, we all know that.
Waza.
I'm almost rooting for Shaolin just because they have Waza and they have a European player.
You know what? Yeah.
I would love
Fuck
to see
it.
Shaolin
Fuck it.
win.
I want to see Shaolin win this series just for the fucking memes. This is the meme team. This is TeamSpeak Squad. They have Panfork, Cavsan, Escrow, Andy Vo, K, Ruel, Pick. Yeah,
You know, they're
fuck it.
basically what the old fags could have been.
This is the old fags 2.0.
Yeah,
Because Panfork did already make that that trade cross, or not trade. He was cut then signed or whatever.
that's true.
But this is old fags 2.0. So this is it for all our listeners. This is the meme pick. I want everyone watching this series and cheering for Shaolin, sporting that orange color code in the chat.
I thought they were blue.
Oh, well, either way.
Yeah, where you been?
Shaolin. I'm looking at the logo. I'm dumb. How do you see the actual series going? I can't even get past the memes here.
A lot of goals.
Yeah, this
I
is
don't know
gonna be
what's
the
gonna
most
happen. Just a
D2-esque
lot of
game.
goals. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
I don't think Andy Vo will have that 2 GAA average at the end of this series.
Neither will
Win or
Waza.
lose. Neither will Waza. Okay, so the next game in D2 would be
Keys and Storm.
right. Now this series will be very fun. Very looking forward to this.
You know what? I think the Storm are gonna win.
You know what I think they are, actually. Before I was just like memeing, like, oh, Storm, they got all these AOT wins. Daisy Roland is their GM. But no, they're actually getting some top quality wins here. And Keys have just dropped off the face of the earth. I'm not sure what happened there.
Flu is the guy that watched in this series. He's been really good this season.
Yeah, he's the MVP for sure.
I don't think they
of
should start
Storm
Ribery
at
though.
least.
I think that guy's awful.
I don't think Ribery should be starting in the playoffs now, but I don't think he will. They
Oh yeah, because
have,
they have Zaytoven now.
yep, and he's got 3.5 PPG so far.
We'll see if
Encouraging.
he's rusty or not.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be playing a lot of condensed Haxwell, OT at once, and I'm sure they'll be verse worlding before. I think he'll get up to speed pretty quick. And they have Flu, Dan, and then TYBG. Thank you, based fucking God. Wow, he's really hit it on this season. First time since like what was it, season 12? He's been doing pretty well. Nice. Shout outs to him. He was my AGM at one point in season 18 when I first came into the league. Hope you
Yep.
guys do well, man.
Plus, nobody just wants to see the Keys win. Nobody likes that team. Well, nobody likes the Pixies.
It's quite
either,
a reversal for DJ Khaled. I mean, he was the darling of D2 at one point, and I think he's on staff now. But all of a sudden, like, crash and burn. I think it was signing Chinny that did it.
Yeah, pretty much. And shout out to him for rejecting the trade. It was pending league approval. Scott tried to snake him.
Good for him.
I mean, they do have potential to beat the Pixies though. But we'll see who shows up.
Yeah. We'll talk about the winner of this series and Pixies when we get to it. But I mean, suffice to say, Pixies are gonna win against Shaolin or E4, whoever wins that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, Keys maybe on a good day could give Pixies some trouble. Storm definitely will give Pixies some trouble. I think they did get one of the lone wins against Pixies. Yeah, they got a 2-1 win. Another good performance. So yeah, we'll all be watching Storm. Do us proud on PTA. You have our wholehearted endorsement.
I would have loved to see him with Oscillator though. It's kind of a shame.
He was the face of that team. Real shame.
They just played so fucking weird.
Short
And
sideline.
they had
Where did Oscom end up?
Oh, he's a free agent.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah. LA signed him and released him like right before the deadline.
Hardcore. All right. Let's get to the last part of the show. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let's go to the awards rundown. Grizzly, you can start this off. Yeah.
For most improved, I have TDA. I didn't really look for like someone becoming a marginal player. He more so became like someone that can start.
Yeah.
And become like kind of very good, that kind of level.
It's a D1 player now for sure.
Yeah.
He kind of skipped a couple steps, which is weird. I think he was like a D2 average player. Would just show up sometimes. Then all of a sudden he's on a D1 team, top GA.
He kind of went inactive though. I think I had like drafted him or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was still around. Like he never stopped playing, but he was just doing like his 1v1 thing.
Yeah.
On pubs.
And who do you
Okay.
have?
Most improved, I've got Monskar. Got to go with the fucking like third, I think, right now, in points. I'm not sure how he's done that. I mean, obviously there's stat padding and all that, but you still have to score the goals. And Monskar also has been able to play mid recently, play any position, I think. He's well-rounded, great passer, and he plays on probably the most unreliable ping in the league. He's just constant 400. He's also the AGM of Lions right now, which is pretty cool. So it's quite a step up for him. So shout outs to Monskar. We'll get to the
Yeah, I
next
think that's
award.
fair.
Okay. Apparently Prizzle doesn't know any of the rookies, so
No.
I had to fill him in on who Compass was. Compass, the Turk transplant. I mean, Leverage was really telling me to draft this kid, and Flossie was talking pretty highly of him. Maybe I should have done it, pulled that trigger. But here he is proving me wrong. I think second in points. Fucking unbelievable.
I have him on the watch list to become a future Rager. I already see it happening.
Rager?
Uh-huh.
Really? Yeah, in pubs sometimes he'll ban. He does get antsy sometimes, but I mean maybe it's that Turk DNA. I mean Leverage has been known to go off sometimes, but
Oh,
he's
that
still my
makes a lot
bro.
of sense.
Nah, I think it's mostly just banter. I don't think Compass is gonna become like a Hefe or anything like that.
Oh, not that level.
Maybe more just like a Feus. Like Feus gets antagonizing in his
That's
pubs
true.
sometimes. Um,
Who do
yeah,
you have for
so
fifth man?
I gotta back up my boy Ovechkin. The dude was until this week's GAA updated. He was fifth in overall GAA as a backup, which is
Yep,
pretty awesome.
I have him as like my number 2, but I have Stotch. Actually, I think Stotch has the better GAA.
Yeah, so I don't know. It is a good question. Scott
I,
Balla and Miles obviously pumping for Stotch since he played really well as a fifth man on LA, but the dude was a starter on Huskies for like
yeah,
a good two,
but
3 weeks.
I don't know if it was that long. I
Eight
mean, he still
weeks,
has
and
160.
he was on LA until week 5,
I
majority of the
think he still
season.
deserves it, to be honest.
I would be okay with Stotch winning it over Ovechkin if people decide that that's a fifth man. I mean, he was a starter and he was tearing the league up. Do
Mm-hmm.
we just give people the majority of the season kind of marker
I
if he
think
played
maybe
it?
so in this case, but I mean, I think Ovi is also deserving.
Okay, so by the similar token, for GK of the year, would you say TDA is the starter on Gunmen?
Honestly, I have no idea. I expect him to start Nate, but maybe they won't. I don't know.
So like 55% of the season, say, would be like my cutoff, and
Yeah.
Stotch just about gets there. So I could see Stotch winning the award there. But Nape has 100 minutes, TDA has 159. But
Yeah, I don't
Nape
think
was the starter for 2/3 of this, or no, sorry, for 1/3 of the season.
that's true. So I don't really know how to do like the TDA situation. It's kind of tricky.
I think so going by my own marker, I will say TDA is the starter for the regular season. However, I don't think he'll start in the playoffs. Nape won with this exact team last season, and I think he'll want to prove that again. TDA
Mm-hmm.
might be heartbroken, but I don't think he should win GK of the year because of that. Because I don't think he is the actual starter
It
going into the
also
playoffs.
you can also note that the Huskies, I think they like rescheduled a lot of games towards the end. Maybe I'm wrong though. And also, Gunman had 2 forfeits because Turtles didn't want to play him, and then LAHC pussied out and took the forfeit win.
Wait, so how's that affect stuff?
Well, he would have had more minutes. TDA.
Oh,
That's why I don't
TDA,
think
right?
he's really a fifth man.
No, he's definitely the starter. But I
Yeah.
mean, deserving the award for the whole season, I feel
For
like
are
it
you
has
talking
to
about
include a
GK of the
little
year?
bit of yeah. I feel like it has to include a little bit of the playoffs. So even if he would be my starter for the Gunmen, if I was the coach, since he will be unlikely to start in the playoffs, I don't think he deserves GK of the year overboard.
Honestly, I would be fine with giving best GK in the playoffs GK of the year, just because
Yeah,
there's
just
really not a
postponing
GK of
that
the year.
award.
Yeah, because Board doesn't have
I would
enough
be okay with
minutes.
that.
I think Board's had a really good season, but Like eight and a
He,
half games. That's not enough.
yeah, he's hamstrung a lot by all the times we had to 3v3 or put Ovechkin in when someone didn't show up because we only had like five. We had a 5-man rotation.
Yeah, and you can't fault him for that. But I mean, at the same
Yeah.
time, you can't give him GK of the year.
So yeah, so by my 55% kind of thing, board probably wouldn't cut it.
Hmm. So that's why I
He's
have nobody for GK of the year.
gonna have to go to the default yes. GK of the year.
I don't think he's
Yeah.
played that great though. I mean, he hasn't played bad, but GK of the year.
He's done above average. He's done pretty good. So
I don't know. I think he's
he's the
done
most
average, maybe.
normal and acceptable candidate. I don't think anybody would be mad if Yas won it. I think Board would be upset if TDA won it over him.
I think Ovi's a
But
better GK than Yas.
nah. Yes, like I had this guy on my team. He could play any position now.
I don't. Maybe
100%.
I just don't see it. But whenever I play with him, he's just not very good. I mean, he's okay.
Maybe he's a bit timid as all. He needs to be encouraged
Yeah, he's way
to
too timid.
play more proactive.
And also, we skipped Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, right.
So for that, I have Cell.
Yeah, going with Cell. I don't think anyone wants to see Agilities win this. Stat pattern and just generally been belligerent this season. Doesn't deserve an award.
I don't think you can always just like straight up look at the stats.
Right.
I mean, LA hasn't really had a consistent lineup, and also he's been kind of held down by Scott, who's not a terrible player, but you can see so many points like missed if you watch the replays, just because Scott's never there.
Right. Cell would have had more assists with a different forward.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, if you put Diablo with him, oh my, he would
Yeah,
have
yeah.
lit it up.
Cell would probably have finished top in points if he had Diablo as his D forward. I think Diablo himself would say that he's been hard done by. Despite not finishing top in points, he probably was the offensive player of the year a lot of seasons. So probably give this to Cell. I really want Under Control or Rich to win this because as D forwards they get overlooked, but people don't really vote for D forwards for this, which sucks.
My final would be Rich and
yeah, the final two.
So that would be my final two.
If
Agilities
Rich or Under
has also
Control,
been good, so I don't want to snub Agilities, but
yeah, top in points. Do you respect that? Maybe.
you have to somewhat.
I wouldn't be mad if Dzeko finished in the top two.
They're my
but
top
I definitely
three
don't
anyway.
want him winning it. Yeah. Okay. What other award is there?
Mid of the year.
Okay. Who's your pick for that?
I have Iggy.
Iggy. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, the guy's obviously carried his team more than anyone else. Part of that's his less than desirable GMing, but I mean, he's played really fucking well. He was twice as good as any other player on the field whenever we played him. Wouldn't be mad at all if Iggy won mid of the year. But my pick is going to be the default El Jefe. I mean, for 75-80% of the season, he was unplayable. His team was just dominant, and that's because of him. He's not like the best player. He's not exactly like, say, XGen. He's one of the most skilled mids, or Hannah, or like even you, Prizzle, like where you manage game well. Hefe just seems to have like this aura where he affects the players and they play like one style as a unit, which is really interesting. I don't think many other players besides like Lindros have that effect on their team. Like even MS, what?
I think Gunman maybe do play better when they run through him, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's not like the top elite player, he just gets a team playing in a system very, very well. So
and it
I'm
makes him more
that.
comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, he's put up a lot of points, although a lot of it's in stat pads. But I mean, still, you have to respect.
Yeah, I mean, what is he, 4th or something in points as a mid?
So
which is amazing.
I think it's a fair. I think it'd be fair to give it to him. I think
Right.
Star deserves a nomination, of course, but I don't know if you can give it to Star.
Nah, Star. If you can't do corners on your own, you don't deserve mid of the year. Just flat out.
Okay, and we did GK of the year. Who do you have for MVP?
Oh, and MVP. If we win on Monday, fucking give it to Bima. I mean, if we finish 3rd,
Bima? Really?
That would be. We would have been last place before Bima. After Bima,
I don't think
3rd
you were last place.
We were last place at one point.
Did y'all lose a lot after I left, or?
We had less games played, but we did have a lot of losses earlier in the season. we became a real team. We had 4 losses in a row through weeks 2 and 3,
Oh, you
and
had him at GK.
it was ugly. But once we got Bima, like we went through him, it was
Oh my
just
god, you
such a
lost to the
turnaround.
Lions, dude.
Dude, we were shit until Bima came into mid. We had no idea what our lineup was. It took me a month, literally, to get a
Mhm.
lineup. So yeah, if we win Monday, then Bima. If not, I kind of want to give it to Cell.
Why do you say Bima over Under? I don't think Under deserves it either. I mean, Under's been
So
good, but I actually feel like he hasn't been his usual self.
I'm
I don't know if
going
that's
with
because he's.
Bima over Under because Bima has our style.
I could agree with that. I think Under's been all right, but I don't think he's been.
Under's certainly been better than me,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I think Under has actually been our best player. However, MVP, Bima totally turned around this franchise, and without him, we are really, really bad. And oh man, it's just been such a
Is he
difference.
your Draymond Green then?
Exactly. So that
Okay.
argument in the thread for why Rich deserves Offensive Player of the Year, it's the same with Bima. So Under might be playing really good, but he couldn't be able to do that without Bima there behind him.
I can see that. You guys definitely played way better once you got him at mid,
Right.
and board GK too.
Board. I could even give a vote for Board for
Nah,
MVP.
I don't think he could.
Like he wouldn't win it, but man, he's playing
Yeah,
fantastic.
he's been really good.
Okay. Who's your MVP pick?
I'm gonna give it to Yiggy. Uh, I mean, I know you said he did the draft, but I just think teams ran through him. He's an elevated talent.
No. We can totally disregard GMing for MVP.
That's true.
Iggy would be a fine MVP candidate. He did clinch playoffs, which is something that Flossie wouldn't do, and you could make the same argument for Flossie if he had finished 5th like Iggy did for making Flossie MVP. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at all if Iggy won MVP.
He's also
Dude's
put
played
up.
fantastic.
I mean, 17 points is it's respectable, especially since they're not like an explosive offensive team.
And the only reason that Iggy's plus minus isn't a lot higher than every single other player's, which it already is the top one, it's just because he's played like almost every fucking game. He
Mhm.
must be the top in minutes this season. He has 300 minutes, which is just
Another thing,
amazing.
he's also played with so many different players.
Yeah. Just totally different forward lineup every single game.
Mhm.
He had a couple different GKs, but mostly it's just yes. But yeah, the forwards, it's hard as a mid, not having forwards that you know what they're gonna do.
All right, and then I'll let you answer first for this one. Who do you have GM of the year
Game of
as?
the year. Uh, man, I had this argument with Scott, and since it's a redraft season,
Mhm.
I'm not giving it to Lions. I'm not
Oh,
giving it to Nash.
of course.
Not giving it to Gunman since they dropped off once Snape left. Not his own fault, vacation, but no, can't do it. Squares should have done better with all their talent. I'm giving it to LA. They finished the top. It's redraft season. And Scott pretty much had a say in every single draft pick. So, yeah,
Yeah,
giving
but
it
they
to Scott
drafted
Paula.
Crumbler in the 3rd round. I mean, how do you justify that?
He should have been drafted lower, but he's a good player. He did okay for them.
He's
They
not
did
that
need
good.
to,
They could have got
no,
rich with that pick.
yeah, but at the end of the day, they finished 48 points,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
51,
I
which
think
is a lot higher than everyone else.
I think he's deserving of a nomination, but I just can't give it to him.
Who would you give it to then?
I would give it to you actually, just because I think y'all have. I mean, as long as you get in the playoffs, you're a contender. I guess you can make that argument. But y'all
Right.
have a solid roster, and you have 3 first-round picks next season.
Dude, that might be the ridiculous kind of shit. I don't know how
I don't think
I've
most
managed
people
that.
realize that. I didn't even quite realize that. And also, the thing I have against LA is as well is that they're not stocked up for next season, pick
Yeah,
wise.
they don't have a first round pick, and they trade for you, which was a
Mhm.
good thing. But then they tried the same thing as with us, where we had you and under GK mid, and you're just a born mid. Like you've just got to accept that now, and that
Mm,
caused problems with Miles, and they ended up cutting you, which is just a waste at the end of the day.
that's not what happened though.
Well, I'm just saying, like you and Miles mid is the
The
position
prob
you need playing,
the
so it
problem with
just I
me
feel like it didn't
GKing
work.
GK is actually my best position, but
No way, man.
no, it actually. I mean,
Bruh.
that's what a lot of good players have told me.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
No, it's actually true. I'm actually okay. The thing with me GKing is it's hard to GK if the mid isn't on my level, and Miles isn't.
And you
So
had under as your G and as your mid? Hello?
I don't actually like playing GK with the unders mid.
Bruh,
That's
all I'm
not that
saying,
that's
you
not that he's
can't make the
bad.
argument that it's my best position if I'm playing with XYZ. If it's your best position, you play well with anyone because you're just that good. They play well because you're
No,
playing
it's
well.
because I want a mid. If they're playing mid so badly, I want to take over.
Well, that's bad. Like I remember in the first game it was,
Mhm.
you went to the corner as the GK because you're not happy with like our corning or something, and then we got scored on. You're
I
just
don't,
a mid, and you make everyone better.
no,
I love
we
playing
won the
with
first
you.
game 1-0.
What? Oh, wait, was the
Yeah,
first
remember
game?
I came in against LA and I came in at mid and I scored the goal on him.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Gunman game. My bad.
Oh, that one I lagged.
Anyway, you're a mid, dude.
I'm telling you.
All
If you
right.
would have saw me on orange in pubs, you would have seen.
Pubs is one thing. Until
No,
you play well in the playoffs as a GK,
I worked
you're
as
a
GK
career
with
mid.
Namis too. Although that was kind of short.
You weren't a playoff GK. You played like one game in the playoffs. Come on.
No, I'm just talking about playing with them.
All right, now we're just fucking shit posting, shit
Yeah,
talking.
none of this matters.
None of this matters. We're done here, aren't we?
Yeah, nobody cares about D2 awards.
Oh, we forgot smallest dick.
Smallest dick.
Man, fucking
Chinny's too
drag.
easy.
Chinny's too easy. I feel like Hefe should get one, but maybe not this season. He hasn't quite done enough. We give it to drag another time. Maybe Nape for all those fucking bans. That's pretty small dick. Yeah, we'll leave it to Zat to come up with the nominations. I don't think we'll be able to come up with it. That's all right. Until Monday, SBHB, we'll return with a maybe another awards watch kind of section, and we'll preview the semis, finals, something like that.
No, just a cup.
All right, it's cup. All right.
We'll give you a
Shout out to
D1 and
Jeremy
a
Lin.
D2 cup final preview.
I beat
All
you.
right, shout out to Jeremy Lin.
Lin, start playing.